Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, you never think you'll be up again. But life goes on. We are the Bro 4 Squad podcast. Our fearless leader, Jeff Hornacek, is currently getting a vasectomy. So welcome into technically episode 63, but this is going to quickly become a shit show. To my left, we have the sixth man of the decade, the American hero himself, Nate Thurman. Nate, I heard you were once left naked in the woods with nothing but a thimble, a condom, and your left shoe. How'd you survive?
Well, since I only had my left shoe, I took the condom, fashioned a right shoe, put the thimble over my dick, jumped on the back of a wild boar, and rode myself into Reno.
Man, that's how you do it, folks. I don't even have a response to that.
It's like a Captain Jack Sparrow story.
Yeah.
So he just was drinking rum on an island the whole time, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you just wanted my honest answer, and I gave it to you, so.
Sorry. Jesus
Geiger,
Christ.
same question.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I can't follow that up. To his right, we have our enforcer in the paint, Matthew F. Geiger. Geiger, I understand you recently traveled to Vegas. I thought you were advised not to travel there by Cycly due to your, quote, legal situation, end quote, with someone named Crystal Candy. What do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah, me and Cycly settled that out of court, just meaning that we paid our hooker bills. Also, Banner, may the sun always be on your face and the wind at your back.
Yeah, it's another good one.
That's my favorite quote from that movie. I'm surprised Jeff didn't take on that one, but whatever.
Whatever. It is Hornacek, and
on with the show.
Not great. Yep. This is showbiz, babe. All right, guys. So, as you guys know, if you are returners to the show, and if you're not, we're going to tell you how we do our show. We do it in 3 segments. First of all, we start with the most important part of any Bros Day, Chess Day. With Hobbs and Shaw trailer looking like Fast and the Furious has gone basically half comedy, let's go back through some of our favorite franchises of all time and pinpoint at what point or in which movie we felt like they really started to suck or change tone, good or bad. Geiger, let's go to you first.
First off, this franchise, because Jeff wrote that and it could have been like 8 words less, but oh well. You read it as good as it could. I was reading it along with you. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm going to pick the Rockies simply because Rocky 1 was up for an Oscar. It was a great movie. Rocky 2, I think, is one of the greatest sports movies ever. Rocky 3, we get a little kind of cheesy with the Hulk Hogan scene. Clubber Lang may be my favorite villain, but the story is just kind of, oh, my trainer dies, and of course, who's going to train him now but Apollo? And then Rocky 4 is just not even a boxing movie. There's not even, when they're training, they don't even box or spar like in the first 2 Rockies. And the soundtrack is just absolutely terrible. I'm excluding the Creeds. I'm not counting those. I'm just doing like basic Rocky franchises. And then you get Tommy Gunn. God, we thought they were over after Rocky 4. Tommy Gunn one where Morrison, I think he had AIDS during the filming. If you don't know who Tommy the Machine Gun Morrison is, who's a real boxer in Rocky 5. And then Rocky Balboa was, even though we got one of the greatest emotional quotes ever when he like yells at his son, that's not who you are or whatever, it was one of the stupidest fucking movies I've ever seen, where a 50-year-old could actually go back and maybe defeat the heavyweight champion of the world, which I believe was Antonio Tarver. I believe that's who the actor was. A real boxer played him. I can't really remember. There's no way of knowing that. There's no way you could look it up. So I'll just go with Antonio Tarver. But that's mine, man. Rockies. The Rockies got way worse as they went. And tonally, as we said, got way more cheesier.
I think that it's good that you excluded the Creed movies just because I think that we're going to find that to be its own franchise in itself. And I'm sure it'll have its turning point at some point as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the franchises that you're not going to find anyone to argue about that with. I think Geiger kind of hit on the head. They kind of decrease as they went on. And to your point, yeah, I think throwing the Creed ones out and not really mentioning those like the double shooter in the JFK scenario is a great idea.
It was Antonio Tarver. I was correct.
Fantastic.
I'm so proud of you. Did we actually look something up without our fearless
did.
leader? Wow.
I did.
Whoever thought that was going to
Thank
happen.
God I'm a boxing fan, or there's no fucking way I would have known that.
Thurman, what is your franchise or maybe a couple franchises that you think tonally changed, good or bad?
Yeah, I kind of want to go a different direction this than what kind of spurred this conversation, and I'm picking Harry Potter out of the bunch. Huge Harry Potter nut, read all the books, obviously have seen all the movies, but there was a tone change, and it kind of happened around the fourth or fifth movie. And you kind of see that when Yates comes in as director in the fifth movie, but even before that, in the fourth, you kind of get a darker scene that you're seeing, especially with Cedric Diggory dying in the maze and all that. But then you move on to the others, and there is more death throughout the final books, but they really bring that out, and it gets dark and ominous. And I think it kind of helps with the growing crowd, because obviously the movies were coming out. When the books came out, everyone was 10, 11 years old. So as these movies finally came out, I think the 8th movie came out when I was 22 or 23. So it was really a good move on their part to kind of grow and get darker and get deeper, with their audience growing as well.
I think me and Cycly talk about that some on our Harry Potter 1 and 2 movie commentaries, and I'm sure we'll eventually not be too drunk to do the other ones. Thurman, you'll have to come on one of those, but we talk about that as well in that franchise, how the books got darker and they really did grow with their audience, which is a really big strength of the franchise. And I think a lot of the kid actors and actresses in that franchise grew as well, which really helped that cause.
Yeah, I mean, overall, front to back, I mean, since you have such a huge fan base supporting that with the books coming out, it's going to be hard to fall off the map, but they did a great job with growing with the audience and staying up with them and making quality movies.
I have two that I wanted to talk about. One of them, Pirates of the Caribbean. As you guys know, or maybe you don't know and you're about to find out, me and Geiger are huge fans of Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that this franchise started off really good. Then you had two movies that were basically one movie, and it kind of confused everybody. And by the end, we were just kind of like, okay, well, we're over it. And then they were like, wait a minute, we can make a fuck ton of money if we make another one. Oh, and kind of going back to the quote of the day, let's reunite Penelope Cruz and Johnny Depp in a really fucking shitty movie. And then they go, oh, shit. We can still make money, but we got to right the ship now and maybe even reboot the franchise, kind of, and give us a really good fifth one. So that's one that I think kind of went both ways. We started going downhill, and they're like, maybe let's not go downhill so much, and let's right the ship here. But again, tonally, and they went almost sci-fi-y instead of more mythological or I don't even know what you would call it. But that was one that I think kind of fits into the same Fast and the Furious. Like, hey, they were going down one path, completely stopped, went a different direction, and then completely stopped again and went a third direction.
So the Black Pearl, I mean, it's sci-fi. It's about a dead pirate ship, but it's about pirate lore. A lot of them are trying to be about pirate lore, just like Blackbeard. And actually, check out, we have done Black Pearl and Dead Men Tell No Tales movie commentary if you want to check that out. But man, like you said, they got way out there, especially when they were taking a ship over to the end of the world and when they used to think the world was flat. There's a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, this is where do I get off on this? But Dead Men Tell No Tales I was actually a fan of. I thought it was the second best movie of the whole franchise.
I agree with that statement as well. And then the third one I've got to talk about is Indiana Jones, where second one? Second one.
Yeah, this is your second one.
Second one.
This is your 8th beer.
My second one, and yes, not more than second beer. Indiana Jones. Tonally, if you look across all, and I can't believe I'm about to include the fourth one in this, but all four movies, you have three different kind of tones. You have the first one and the third one, which are very similar stories. It's Indiana Jones versus the Nazis. And then you've got this really weird Temple of Doom one, the second one. Just, I don't even know how to describe it, but very like I don't even know what the right word is.
Isn't Temple of Doom the third one?
No, that's the second one. But it's actually a
Okay.
prequel. We can go into it. Trust me. I can pull out a true X-Men fan in you and go, well, here's the
Okay, never
timeline
mind.
and draw you a fucking map. But we don't have 45 minutes to do that.
That's
Just
for a
cut
later
that out.
date.
I wish I wouldn't even have asked, so please just cut it out. Put this live.
And then Xavier talks to himself, but in a different timeline, and
This is correct.
we learn everything, right? No, but then you have the fourth one, which is very sci-fi, and they're all aliens, which is just really fucking stupid. All over the place. Even though I think the first three movies were very strong, that fourth one was just god awful. And unfortunately, I think we're getting another one here in coming years.
Whatever. It's completely plausible that he survived the nuclear blast in a refrigerator.
Get out.
I'll see myself out. Bye, guys.
Just bye. Anything else comes to mind, guys? Even, I mean, hell, I'll throw it out there. TV shows where the tone has changed or they went in a direction that kind of killed the franchise.
Lost?
From like episode 1 to episode 2?
Oh, no, just from season to season.
Fair enough.
You ask.
I
so.
did ask. All right. Well, that wasn't a great follow-up question. So we're going to move on to protein shake. Guys, this is kind of what's in your cup. What have we been drinking lately? What have we watched recently? I'll go first because I actually really, truly do have a pretty light week. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Last week I watched The Mummy. This week I watched The Mummy Returns. Again, guys, they're just fun movies. CGI does not hold up in the second one. I watched the last Transformers movie, not Bumblebee, but Transformers: The Last Night. That's the last one with Wahlberg, and Anthony Hopkins. Guys, it's not good. It's
No?
not good at all.
Is
I'll
this
take
the
your word for
Return
it.
of the Night or something like that? It's the newest one, right?
Yeah, it's called The Last Night.
Last Night.
Yeah, I'm sure Hornacek would defend it to a T, but it's fucking terrible. I can't believe I wasted
Does Anthony Hopkins wear a pocket watch and tell about stories that there's no way he knows anything about?
Yes, that's exactly what happens.
Okay. Well, I'll probably watch it then.
Yeah, it's also 2.5 hours that you're never gonna get back.
Jesus, that's a long movie.
Yeah, it's a long movie. And then the last one, Valerian City of 1,000 Planets. This is a movie that came out last year. We made a lot of fun of it last year. The idea of it is kind of interesting, but I mean, there's more fucking CGI in this than the Star Wars prequels. Yeah, I didn't think it was possible either, but there is not a single fucking thing that isn't a green screen.
More than the Star Wars prequels?
It's gotta
Everything
be.
was on a green screen in the Star Wars prequels.
That's my point. It's crazy.
More than Avatar.
Yeah.
I think Ewan McGregor was sick one day and they just green screened him in, so
Yeah. Dane DeHaan is in it. I'm not a big Dane DeHaan fan, but he was fine. And then that one chick with the weird nose, she was in it. Yeah, it was all right. But that's actually all that I watched this week were those 3 movies. I listened to a couple of books, but we had kind of a rough week.
Nerd.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Jesus.
look, they're on the Lincoln Lawyer. I could talk about them if you want. They go along
Not
with the
good.
Lincoln Lawyer series, and they're pretty
Hard
fucking
pass.
good. Michael Conley, you guys should check them out. But that's all I got. Geiger, what's in your cup? What you been watching?
I'm just going to talk about one thing because it's actually very interesting and you guys will probably have follow-up questions.
Okay, but before you go on, I actually forgot. I did watch the Fire Festival documentary on Hulu.
This is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, my bad. Continue.
Banner, shut the fuck up.
However, I'd like to discuss this with you because I watched the one on Netflix.
I've watched both of them now.
I watched the one on Netflix.
Which one do you think was better?
I think they were both good in their own right.
Okay, first off, we need to talk about because some people might not even know what the fuck this is. But
You
So Fry
catch the people up. I'm
Festival-
going to get another beer.
Fry Festival was supposed to be kind of the next Woodstock, and if you remember this, I can't remember how long ago this was. Maybe 8 months. I don't think it was a year. Where
No, it was-
everyone was screaming at Ja Rule because they thought he was like one of the main guys in this, right? Promoting it. I mean, it was supposed to be a huge music festival in the Bahamas with Ja Rule, Blink-182. Basically, anyone imaginable was supposed to be there. So Billy McFarland, who is, I guess, the new Wolf of Wall Street, because he's 27 in prison, And it's interesting to me how there's so many old white rich guys that'll listen to anything a 27-year-old says because they know that a 27-year-old is the future of their business because that's who's buying their products right now.
The amount of people in this documentary that just went head over heels about how infectious he was and how he could sell anything to anyone. I was like, if I got in this room with this guy for 2 seconds, that's the only amount of time I would be in there because I'd be out the door the third second. He is grade A douchebag. I mean, I don't know how they could not read this on him.
It's interesting though because so many people that have big businesses nowadays are so just factuated with millennials that they will listen to what any millennial has to say because they don't understand them. They don't understand their buying habits. They don't understand how they can just watch YouTube all day. So basically, Billy McFarland goes to, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's basically the guy that took the Supersonics away from Oklahoma or from Seattle to Oklahoma City. But people like that with a ton of fucking money and pitches this idea about having this big ass Woodstock in the Bahamas. It's like Ja Rule, Blink-182, Beyonce, just anyone you can imaginable. And you can buy villas, you can buy like tents and pick your food packages and all you can drink. What?
Can you? Do they?
But the thing is that he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Artists started to back out because you couldn't accommodate him right. And the island that they had was actually like a Pablo Escobar island, but then they couldn't get that. So they're basically in this just shithole in the Bahamas, which is kind of dangerous, with no accommodations, which he promised people. And like $10,000 people were spending on tickets to go. Now, I don't feel bad for a kid that has 10 grand to spend on a weekend. I feel bad for some of these people that were building stages and basically thinking money's going to come later, and it didn't come. Like nothing came for all the manual labor that happened with people actually building, which was basically my take from it. But you guys can add whatever you want like that. It's an amazing story. Banner, which one do you think was better? Because I didn't see the Hulu one.
So
I saw the Netflix.
They're both very different. So the one on Netflix was way more about the Fire app and then how they were going to promote that, which was the Fire Festival, and how it just fucking crumbled.
Sorry, just touch on that real quick. So the Fire app basically is for rich people to get in contact with like Jay-Z to play your birthday kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
And because think about it, if you're rich, how would you contact Jay-Z? You probably wouldn't even know. You'd have to contact his agent or something. You have the money to pay him, but how would you contact him? It'd be impossible.
Right. It's actually a really good idea. And apparently the technology behind the app was almost revolutionary, and they're actually using it now too. And they talk about it, and I don't remember which one, but there's like this company in Russia that has a private jet. You never actually fly in it, but you can rent it out for like 2 hours to take photos in it and pretend like you're flying in a private jet. And that was the whole idea behind this app. And they said, well, how are we going to promote this? How are we going to get people to know about it? And it was, let's throw a festival. And we're going to do it in the Bahamas. And he partnered with Ja Rule, which I don't see how any of that could have gone wrong. But I mean, he's a real stand-up. Monica!
Like Ja Rule hasn't even been anything for like 10 years. But the commercial they had for it with models and everything like that, like looked like, I mean, we were about to go to this thing. Like it looked like a lot of fun.
It looked like a
So
ton
I
of
think
fun.
one of the guys, or I think they explained it on the Netflix documentary. I think they explained it best. The Fire Festival did happen. It just happened like a month before. It's when McFarlane and his fucking slapdick friends were hanging out with the models and drinking and having a great time. They had a fucking blast a month before. They didn't have any artists or anything, but that was basically the Fire Festival. The promotional ads that they sent out, what they were doing then, hanging out on yachts with models. It just happened a month before, and no one else got to enjoy it.
The Netflix one also talked about how the people that helped build it and all the manual labor and the bohemians down there just got fucking shit on. And there is no way, because obviously it's out of the United States jurisdiction, for them to get their shit back. We also learned what lengths he would go to make that, or he was attempting to make that festival happen.
This guy's a douchebag, don't get me wrong, but it would be hard once you're in that deep to just say, guys, I've fucking lied about a lot because he just like blatantly lied about so much shit that he was in too deep by the time that this thing didn't happen.
The best part about it, in my opinion, is that he's still denying he did anything wrong, but you took a guilty plea, dude. Like, they had your pin, like, you fucking did it. We know you fucking did it, but yet you're still gonna try and say you didn't do it, even though you said you did it.
Dude's in jail 6 years. That's it.
That's it.
That's
and
what I read anyway.
he's supposed to owe like $29 million, but he's never going to pay any of that back.
No.
The Hulu one was more about him, and he was actually in it, and they interviewed him. So that was kind of interesting. Moody, you hit the nail on the head. Grade A fucking douchebag.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime they had him backed in a corner, like he's like, I did not lie, then they would turn around and play the clip where he would lie. He was like, I didn't lie. We had 10,000 people. Yeah, we got like 100,000 people. Like it was insane how much of a compulsive liar this dude was.
That's the thing, man. You can have the greatest idea ever, but if you can't sell it, no one cares. You can have the shittiest idea ever, but if you can sell it, some idiot will probably pay a lot of money for like some app or some concert you have. But guys, just to wrap it up, it's a fucking fantastic documentary. I haven't seen the Hulu one, but the Netflix one's really good. You probably heard about it in the news or on Facebook or Instagram like 10 months ago whenever it went down, but it is extremely fascinating if you want to check it out.
And the way that they talk about using social media to grow an idea was very, very interesting. And it's
like,
actually,
what was it, Kylie Jenner or somebody put out a tweet for $250,000. You're just like, can you just put out this tweet? It's FYRE, by the way, Fry Festival, if you look it up.
Thurman, what have you been watching here recently?
I'll start it off with one of my favorite all-time comedies. Me and the wife hadn't seen it in a while, so we threw it on over the weekend. I Love You, Man, with Siegel and Paul Rudd, Rashida Jones. Aziz Ansari is also in it too. It's a really great cast, but I feel like it's a really fucking underrated, funny movie. But it came out in the same kind of time frame that you were getting Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and all those. So I think those kind of overcast it. But that's just one of the ones I can watch 100 times. We'll just throw it on, and I'll just go through and quote it as much as I can. But yeah, that's one of the ones that we went back and watched. We hadn't seen that in a while. A few Netflix originals that we have been binging lately that ran through. Sex Education, British Netflix TV show. Either one of you check that out?
No, I hear good things though.
Hilarious. Really good.
Geiger and the Brits don't see eye to eye, if you've listened to the pod, so I have not yet to check it out.
Really? Well, fuck them. That's why they're over there and we're over here. So.
Well, I think I started it, but thank you.
Damn it, Geiger! What are you doing?
I may have thrown the first punch. I don't know.
Son of a bitch! Shots fired.
It's not your fault. You were blackout drunk though.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, Sex Education would really give it a shot. I think the main teenage character, and I think he's got a really good chance of making a name for himself going forward after this.
Is it Aja Butterfield?
Sure, man. I don't know.
Or something like that. It's the same dude from The Space Between Us.
Yeah.
You guys know that's a very good movie.
That sounds like a Hornacek movie. I'm not sure.
That's the movie that was my sleeper pick for 2017. That
all right, you're killing my boy over here.
We've all seen.
Anyways, the one who plays opposite of him, who's his kind of
Oscar snub
crush. What the fuck? No spoilers, but kind of his crusher, and it kind of looks like Margot Robbie, which is kind of funny. But Frontier, another one. I know Banner turned me on to that. Went through that, love it. Currently, there is not any talk of a season 4 specifically or a release date. I'm hoping Momoa isn't getting too big to where it's tough to schedule him to a complete season of a TV show, which I'm afraid it is. But where season 3 left off for Frontier, I would be fucking ecstatic for a season 4 to what we're looking forward to. So highly recommend Frontier. Way different than Sex Education, obviously, although there is sex in it. And then the other one that went through lately, I'm only halfway through it right now, but Friends from College. If anyone's seen season 1 was great, funny. obviously gets a little dark at some points, and you realize that most of the characters in there are just pieces of shit. But then going into season 2, spoiler alert, it carries over, and the people and the characters are still kind of pieces of shit. But you have Coley Smulders from How I Met Your Mother, Keegan Michael Key, I always mess his name up, and then Fred Savage as well. But really great show. I'm about halfway through the season, but that's what I'm on right now.
Fred Savage from the Wonder Years?
Yes.
Ah.
He's gay in it. Huh. All right, guys. I just got one question for you.
One more time.
I'm going to blindly say... It's not the same.
I was wondering how we're going to set it up with you hosting.
Yeah, it didn't... Did it work? I don't think it really worked.
Has it ever?
No. It really hasn't.
Next song.
All right, guys. This is our question and answer segment. Do you even lift, brah? Where we get to answer some of the questions that we've dug up on the interwebs. First question comes from @Engineering9Kid, and they ask, are there any directors you refuse to see their movies based on their past work? I have a friend who refuses to see any more M. Night Shyamalan movies or films because of how The Last Airbender was and how personally he took it.
Sounds like our kind of person.
Yeah. Engineering 9 Kid, you need to make sure that your friend listens to us because that's our boy right there. I'll go first real quick. To be honest with you, I don't do enough research into movies before I watch them to know who's fucking directing them anyway before I go into it, unless it's like the really big ones. And honestly, if you put on a good trailer or have a somewhat okay story, probably going to fucking watch it anyway. So, unfortunately, I don't really fall into that category because I watch a lot of shitty fucking movies because of it. Thurman.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to add too much excitement to that because I fall into the same boat as you, Banner. I have a horrible time just remembering who directed movies. So I may hate a director and don't want to see his movies, but I don't know it. I just know it's a shitty movie and I don't want to see it. So to answer the question in full, maybe?
Okay. Geiger.
So I was going to answer the same thing, but before our pod, I was looking up the franchise question. That was our chess day. And the first franchise that came up was Star Wars, and the picture was of The Last Jedi. Ugh. And anything that Rian Johnson ever fucking does, I will not see. And also, if I see Rian Johnson in public, I will punch him in his fucking mouth. And also, I looked up, Banner, I have not seen any Rian Johnson's movies previous to that. I haven't seen Looper, I haven't seen Brick, I haven't seen The Brothers Bloom, I haven't seen Knives Out, I haven't seen Seven Mummies. That's all I got.
Those all sound like movies that would warrant you getting the job to direct The Last Jedi. I just want to say.
I don't know. He absolutely sucks, and he ruined Star Wars, so may God have mercy on his soul. No, actually, send him straight to hell.
Don't say things you don't mean.
May the devil ass rape him for eternity.
May him die a terrible death and have him contract AIDS.
That was mean.
Great question.
Yeah, I don't know about the AIDS part, but everything else, yeah, like devil raping him in the ass, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I really enjoyed the question. Great question, Engineering 9 Kid. Next question comes from @BlackDisney1. Love the Twitter handle there. And their question is, do you think critics need kid goggles on when doing kids movies? Some critics slam kids movies if jokes or situations only get kids reactions. I hate Kaloo and Paw Patrol, but if they sit still and be quiet, isn't it worth a 5-star? So, as I think I'm the only one on the pod that currently has a child, and 100%, if they sit still for longer than 5 minutes in front of the TV watching something, yeah, it automatically gains 2, maybe 3 stars, and just starts with that handicap. I think, though, that movies like that need to be scored twice or on two different kinds of levels. You have one level, which is, we'll call it like your quote-unquote Oscar categories, your direction, your scene, your story, your cinematography, all of that shit. And then your other one is, how does it talk to the target market? Perfect example is the Emoji Movie. We can all agree that movie is probably one of the worst in history, right?
Yeah.
But if you're 7 to 10 years old, it might very well be your favorite movie right now.
Yeah, it might be kind of cool.
Which means it was successful. Did it make money? Yeah, it made a little bit of money. It did what the studio wanted it to do. And what is it different from like Hobbs and Shaw? Is it going to be bad? Yeah. Are we going to go see it? Yeah. Is it going to make a lot of money? Yeah. Are we going to hate it? Probably. What's the difference between that and Hobbs and Shaw and the Emoji Movie? So graded on two different levels. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Thurman.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you need to look at these, and critics may just need to have not a dick bag filter or goggles to look through. Not every movie needs to have some
tough
deep
when they're
meaning.
sucking a lot of dick.
Well, one in each eye. I guess that's the goggle part. But yeah, I mean, some movies you just want to sit down and not have to think about and just get through it, have a few laughs, and just enjoy your time. You don't have to have some deeper meaning into every single movie. I mean, all the Oscar ones get buzzed because, oh man, they did this so great and so well. But yeah, to your point, they need to kind of cater to their reviews to, hey, what audience are they really going for, and did they get that point across, and did they accomplish that?
Geiger.
All right, at Black Disney 1, this is a fantastic question because early parts of the Bro Force Squad, we would shit on critics so much. We haven't done it for a while, actually, but I've talked about this a couple times. They need different critics for different types of movies. If they're doing Avengers Endgame, they should have somebody that's actually read like quite a few Marvel comics, not just,
if not one.
Oh, I kind of know what the story is. I know who Spider-Man is, and I only know who Iron Man is because they did a movie back in 2010. We need, I don't know, like Steve from Blue's Clues looking motherfuckers doing like the Paw Patrol review, and then we need real critics doing No Country for Old Men so they can find a deeper meaning to the movie. But you can't ask somebody that, sniffs their wine and going to an Oscar movie to also do Little Giants, which is a movie commentary we just did. It's just not fair.
As Thurman fucking snips his wine.
It's delicious.
But we need different critics for different types of movies, and that's what's wrong with sports right now. You got Stephen A. Smith talking about football, and he knows nothing about it whenever he's a basketball analyst. It used to be, if you're a football guy, you talk about football. If you're a baseball guy, you talk about baseball. If you're an action movie critic, you should talk about action movies. If you're an Oscar critic, you should talk about Oscar movies.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
All right, guys. Any last thoughts on any of our topics? Anything that we watched? Hobbs and Shaw? Any of our questions? Any words for our fans?
Hobbs and Shaw looks absolutely fucking dreadful, and
that's going to be right up there with
probably see it early.
Yeah, it's going to be up there with Skyscraper.
It's good.
Good God, it looks bad.
It can't even be on the same level as Skyscraper.
I want everyone just to put down their bong and their beer that's listening to us and just think this all started with some fucking DVD players, and this is where we're at now.
All right, everybody. We are the Bro Force Squad podcast. You guys can check us out on our website, www.broforcesquad.com. Follow us on Twitter at Broforcesquad. We're on that thing. Check out one of our other things that Jeff is on for our movie reviews. Letterboxd. Follow us or give us a like on Facebook, and you can subscribe to us here on YouTube or on Spotify or on iTunes. Or are we on Pandora yet?
I don't think we're on Spotify.
Did I say that? We're on Spotify.
You
just
Basically, go to our website and you'll find everything, or you can Google Bro Force Squad podcast. We're on there. For the Enforcer himself and the American hero, I'm the Mad Scientist, and we will catch you guys next time.
That was a shit show.
I told you it was going to be. I warned him up front.
Well, I finished my bottle of wine now. I don't know what to do.